gentlemen, welcome back to another incredible episode of I Need to Know with your two favorite uncles. I am Snacks, and that's Arthur. He always has an issue with me dancing. Another phenomenal guest on the show, man. They like to say he's a quiet guy, but he's not. You just got to get to know him. Man, welcome to the show. He opens up, right? But he most definitely would like to speak his mind on today on I Need to Know. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Darrin. What's up?
What's up?
There it is. What up, brother?
What's up?
What's going on, man? How you going?
How you doing?
Living life, man. Living life.
Welcome to the show.
We appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna watch one off, but it didn't.
Oh, okay. Let's say, are we good to go?
I thought somebody was calling me.
So we pretty much asked the question. I need to know if you first time tune in. I need to know we fill in the blanks. So whatever it is, it could be any subject. It's unfiltered, unscripted. A lot of times we don't even know what people are even coming on the show to talk about.
Which actually makes it even better because then you get genuine reaction.
Yeah.
When someone asks a question, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't expect that.
Yeah. Right. But we can't go too far until we get drinks, Darrin. So you're our official bartender.
Okay.
You're just gonna pour.
Man, oh yes.
If you're heavy-handed, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
A burning desire, and I sometimes I'll ask this when we, at the bar with our older folks, because we always tend to go to bars with people that's 20 years older than us.
Yeah. Old souls.
Old souls. I'm most definitely an old soul.
Got it.
The question I need to know. I need to know, why do people lives shut down when they get into relationships? And meaning very quickly. For instance, a lot of times, some of my friends, they'll get in relationships and they'll go so M.I.A. Never hear from them until they get out of a relationship, and they're like, hey, how you been? Let's hang out again. Let's do this.
Now, before we answer that, let's go ahead and get a cheers.
Oh man,
Hey, go for it. We're not mad.
I did it early. Cheers. Cheers.
Darrin's like, I need a drink for this one. Yeah, why do people shut down? Like, why do you feel like you can't be friends or be a friend anymore? Or why does your partner, whether it's male or female, feel like you can't go hang out with people without them? Like, why do you shut down from everybody that you used to hang out with?
Man, I think that some people get in certain relationships, you might go. Men tend to date, and then you still got your friends, and then you get into a relationship that you really enjoying, and you just enjoying that time, and you just kind of put everything else on the back burner.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Unfortunately, it just worked like that. I know somebody that's like that.
Yeah. And
it's not nothing against me. That's just how he is. He finally found his soulmate, and that's his time.
So, is there, I guess, a time frame of when you come out of that I'm going to say a coma, but you come out of that phase where, like, I put forth enough, he or she should know or trust me now, or he or she should know that we good. We can get back out with our friends and hang out. Is it a time frame on there, or do you just have to go off the energy?
Man, I think it's, I hate to say it, I think it's at some point in time, you're like, okay, well, I think I've had enough of this dose. Yeah. And I think I need to hang out with my friends. Yeah. And now how that transpires as far as how the woman feels about that, like, oh, okay, now you want to be with your friends. Yeah. What about me? that determines what kind of relationship you're in.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think I agree with both of your guys' statements. What I've always said, and I've said this to my friends, I would say they hate when I say it to them, but when a friend of mine gets in a new relationship, I give them 3 weeks.
Right.
I give them 3 weeks right out the gate. I don't expect to hear from you. I don't expect to hang out with you. And I don't mean that negatively. I would just think, if it's a new relationship, like you said, you're enjoying that new connection. So, I mean, you guys are going to talk all the time. You're going to go do things. It's new. You should, really want to invest your time. But I think, like, after that time, so maybe to your question of, like, is there a time where you kind of come out of that? I mean, I would think after a month, almost a month, or, maybe 2 months, what have you, it's not so much that you don't like being around that person. I mean, you may, be in love with that person at that time. I just think it's the more experiences y'all have apart, the more you have to talk about later.
Yeah.
If I was dating someone, I always say, go hang out with your girls. Like, please do.
Yeah.
No, baby,
that's
you come.
me.
That's awesome. I'm glad that I can come.
Yeah.
But I want you to go hang out with them. Because then when you come back, then, we can talk
joke,
about
laugh,
what y'all did, and have fun. And the same thing I would hope that, she would want me to go hang out with my friends. then we can come back and we can talk about it. You know, I would need to know is why when people do that, they don't see that. Like they don't see that they haven't talked to their friends in 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, so then when they try to reach out later, like, oh, well, why you mad? Like, because I haven't heard from you in 6 months.
We hung out strong for all summer. Now you got in a relationship and I ain't heard from you all.
The thing is, when they come back, unfortunately, they come back with the tears of that breakup.
Yeah.
But they want you to be there for them on that breakup because, I mean, y'all were friends before. Yeah. We ain't been friends for the last 3 years, but now y'all broke up. Now you want to be...
And I got to take your side.
Exactly. But I don't know anything about the person because we ain't talking about them.
But you know what? That point goes back to their relationship. Mm-hmm. I think when you have that separation, that causes for a healthy relationship, right? I mean, if you smothering somebody and they just getting tired of you being up underneath them, of course y'all got a bigger opportunity for it not to work.
Yeah. No, so, I agree with that. I mean, I think there needs to be a healthy balance between doing things together, wanting to do things together, having that person by your side, but then again, having that personal time, if you will, that separation, because again, it gives you something else to talk about.
Yeah. You know, I've always been that way anyways, where please go you can go out of town with your girls, whatever you want to do.
Encourage it.
Yeah. And it's not to push you off, or we can do something, but each one of us need a break, that me time away from each other. So I just wanted to know, man, like, what is it in relationships that be like, I got to kick all my friends to the curb. Like I never understood it. What do you think causes insecurity? I guess it could be a million and one things, but
I think it's a good question. I mean, one perhaps major thing is past traumas. You know, if they have something that has happened to them in a relationship where, maybe they kind of lost themselves in that relationship to perhaps our point of always being around that person, you become dependent on that other person. And they almost define who you then are because everything you do with them. Mm-hmm. So then all of a sudden, let's say you guys break up or get a divorce or whatever, however serious your relationship was, then it's like you're insecure about yourself because you don't know yourself. You don't know what you like. I know what I like based off of what she liked. But now I'm not with her, so what do I like? I don't know. But that's tough though. I mean, because I'm sure we've probably all met someone when that like self-esteem or that self-doubt is strong. It's difficult.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
To talk to that person, because they just
don't believe in them.
They doubt they don't believe in themselves. So maybe what advice would you give somebody to work through those? Like, how do you, when you meet someone that potentially is, has a high level of self-doubt, what do you think, how can you help somebody work through that? Because I'm sure there are people out there that, they do doubt themselves. They have lost themselves in relationships before. How do you work through that?
Well, I think a lot of insecurities come from what I've been seeing and saying for quite some time now is I feel like everybody is competing in some way, some form, some fashion, via social media, at work, or a hobby or whatever. And when you don't have to compete, but when you already have those, if you already doubted yourself, I guess that's where a lot of the insecurities could come from. Because I clearly we can use Instagram or social media as a prime example. Because I just asked you, I mean, you told me not to say it, but everybody's a trainer now. Everybody work out now.
The thing that I like is you see a girl a month before, she was overweight a little bit. Yeah. I mean, she wasn't bad. Yeah. But next thing you know, a month into it, she all perfect, and all of a sudden she been working out.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that don't happen in a month. No. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the curves that you got, that's like probably a year, maybe 6-7 months.
That's what I'm saying, Darrin. Like everybody works out now. Everybody's quote unquote selling fitness outfits and carrying on. So it's like,
but I did say it because. Disclaimer, I want you to live your life, okay?
I really do.
I want you to feel comfortable.
Just don't front while you living.
That's all I'm saying.
Just don't front while you living,
That's all I'm saying.
I think what gets me is, be it if it's working out or let's say, cycling or getting into yoga or whatever it might be. Like if that's a new hobby, I mean, like photography is a new hobby for me. So I mean, I'm going to post a lot about that and post different things I'm doing. But I do think there's a point where, people then try to front like this is their lifestyle. This is what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Like, you've never taken a yoga class in your life until last week, but now you're all about yoga. Like, that's your life. Like, that's what you do. You've been doing that, Or all of a sudden you've been, like you said, whatever your body makeup is, not body shaming anybody. But this is what you look like 2 months ago. This is what you look like 2 months later. But you've always been a fitness nut?
Yeah.
I mean, come on now.
And this is not talking about just women. I'm talking about men, because dudes are just as bad.
I almost want to say dudes are just as bad in terms of trying to tell you how to work out. Like, they think they know how to work out now. I think the women, for the most part, they just like to show themselves working out. You know what I mean? Like, they'll show you the band exercises they doing. But they're not necessarily, like, telling you need to do it like this. No, a dude will get on there and be like, well, you need to do 3 sets of this. I'm like, bro, you just started going to Planet Fitness. Like, what are you talking about? One thing I would say, like, kind of going back to the relationships, like, why is it that, well, maybe like I need to know, why is it so important that the guy asks the girl out when they want to start dating? I know we talked about this a few nights back with some friends, but like, I've met some women that like they will not go on a date with a guy. They will not go out with a guy. Like, in terms of like dating, if he does not ask that question. What do you think?
Man, I have no idea how to answer that one. I mean, because when I used to date, I hate to say it, like, a lot of people probably gonna be mad at me, but I put a price tag on somebody, and it's your self-worth. So, if I'm dating you, I'm looking into like your lifestyle and what your trends are and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a good thing for me if I don't like your trends and you're not asking me out, then we can just keep talking until we fade away.
Yeah.
So it's a good and a bad thing. That's how I see it.
Man, all right. You and these good questions. I have to go more of this is how we was raised.
Okay.
I'm sure, and most definitely if you were raised in the 2-part parent home, you had the mom and the dad, I'm sure they're teaching you that the man is supposed to be doing certain things a certain way. And you grow up and you see that, especially your dad is, leading by example. You see that. You see that your mom is being treated that way. So I'm going with, that's just how we were raised. In which I would assume, I can speak for myself, the first initial date, I don't want you to really take care of much. If you want to, thank you for asking, but I don't really want you to take care of it. Now that led off to the price tag on dates, and it was something else we talked about, because I know the conversation.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, and you're kind of going down that road, is the question was posed, is it okay for the woman, I mean, this, again, we were talking about male-female date, if you will, for the lady to pay for things.
Initiation.
Why does that, in essence, maybe offend a lot of gentlemen? If you go on a date and the lady wants to pay for the drinks. The example given when we were talking was that, a friend of ours, female friend, she went on a date with a guy. He got the first round of drinks, and so she picked up the second. And that just threw him off. Like, he did not like that.
He wasn't ready for it.
So, I would say,
and here I am, like, yes, go right ahead.
What is the power attached to pain? Like, why do you guys think that something like that would have thrown that guy off so much?
To me,
would it throw you off? Do you think it should throw someone off? If you go Dutch on a date, or what do you guys think?
I think everybody's built different. Everybody wired different. That's just part of our DNA.
True.
So everybody got different personalities. I feel like my personal take is, if I ask you out, then I'm asking for your time. So if I'm asking for your time, I should pay for it.
Got it.
That's just my philosophy. You know what I mean? Now,
that's so good.
If she asks you to go out, and if she's offering to pay, then you have a choice. You can either be a gentleman and be like, oh, I got it, or let her pay.
Again, because we're talking about male, female. So for ladies,
that's so good.
How many of you ladies would be okay with that? Like, if you asked a guy out, and to Darren's point, you offered to pay, and he was like, cool, go ahead and pay for it. how are you going to feel about that? Because again, the example we gave is the guy, it threw the guy off. For a lady, and I'm just talking not so much experience, but just kind of what I see, if you will. I don't think a lady would be okay with that fully. Like I think around the drinks, cool. Maybe a dinner here or there, cool. But it's like if she was paying the majority of the time, I don't think she'd be okay with
The
that.
majority of the time, no.
Yeah,
that's a no.
I wouldn't
That's
be okay with
definitely
that.
No. Yeah, that's a definite no.
As a man, I wouldn't be okay.
I get that, but at the same time, like when you say that, if it was flipped, the majority of the time, guys pay for that. So should a guy not be okay with that?
It just all the shiver ain't dead. I don't think it is.
I'm not advocating for it. I agree.
What's not dead?
Chivalry. I agree.
Okay.
I mean, I listen. I don't think it would have thrown me off like it threw that guy off in terms of like being put off.
Yeah.
But I definitely would have wanted to pay. You know what I mean? Like if she was very adamant about it, that's what she wanted to do. Just to be nice, if you will. Okay, great. Go ahead and cover that. That's perfectly fine. But yes, me, the way I was raised, just the way that in terms of being on a date, if I ask for your time. I expect to pay because I'm setting all this up. Yeah. So like, I think we talked about this in an earlier episode. Like I wouldn't take you somewhere that I couldn't afford to take somebody.
Yeah. Or be like, hey, can I take you out? Oh yeah, you paying, and I want to go here.
Yeah, I mean,
but that happens though.
That happens though.
I hear that all the time here.
That's crazy,
happens.
man.
And what's crazy is people go.
They go.
Like they go on those dates.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, they're like, well, he was a jerk. Did you see the way it started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that's one thing that do kill me. That's what's on my mind. About women. Okay, I gotta ask this.
Listen,
yes.
Let them
Please,
it up in
man. This one bothers me.
Here it comes.
So, women, why do you see a dude at the bus stop? You driving a car. No matter what kind of car you got, you have a car.
I know.
You see a dude at the bus stop. You think he cute. Blah blah blah. You talking to him. Y'all get into a relationship, and then you complaining about you don't have no car, you still live with your mama, but you knew what he was when you got him.
I shouldn't be laughing at this.
Like, I just don't, and it's all too often.
It happens
all
the
too
time.
often.
Just go do a men's league game.
I don't have an answer to that because I, too, don't understand it. Like
I'll never understand it.
Only because I agree. Well, let me say agree. I subscribe to the mindset of, where someone is at when you meet them doesn't necessarily mean that's where they're going to be. I get
You're
that.
right. You're right.
Okay?
You're right.
I'm with you when you're
I
right.
get that. Like,
Right.
they can grow.
Yeah.
I hope so.
But, like, if somebody, to your example, if someone doesn't have a vehicle, or let's say when you meet them, they're unemployed at the time, I feel like you can't complain about that. Now, you might be seeing them on a day-to-day basis. And so, like, someone doesn't have a car, but to say they have a job, they don't have a car, and you see what they're spending their money on, and they're not spending it in any way of getting a vehicle, I feel like you could complain about that. You could say, like, hey, your money management isn't getting you any closer to getting a vehicle. We need 2 cars in this relationship, yada, yada, yada. But, like, to say they don't have a car, oh, we got to drive him around. What happened to his car? Well, he didn't have one. When y'all met, he had one? He didn't have one. What are you complaining about?
It's not just about the car, though. It's just about the whole life in
general.
general. It's just like,
I agree.
On how they living.
Like, your ambition.
Yeah.
If you see somebody, you met this dude, oh yeah, he cute, he got green eyes or wherever the hell your preference is, you should be able to see everything that's wrong within the first month.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what are you doing? Oh, I'm sitting there chilling, smoking weed with the homie. Okay. Next day, what are you doing? Sitting over here drinking with the homies. You go through 5 days of consistent smoking and drinking and not putting forth an effort.
But shacking up in her house.
Yeah, and I mean, come on, man. It speaks.
Why do people ignore those red flags? Red flags that they say to their friends they would not accept. Okay, when they're sitting around the circle with their girlfriends or their boyfriends, they would say, "Hey, if he didn't have no job, if he didn't have no car, if all he did was smoke, if he wasn't big on family, I just know we wouldn't work out." But then that's exactly the dude that they'll waste 3 years on, talking about he gonna change.
Seeking compassion or love that they never had. So you get caught up in it. So if you never witnessed love, you never experienced love, you never really knew what love was about, and you kind of see that within that person, you're sticking with that. Because if you don't know what it is, that's what it is to you. Mm-hmm. So I hate to take it deeper than what it was supposed to.
No.
But
I think it makes sense.
I think that's what. But I think that's what it is. You're seeking out something that you never had, and so both of you probably are seeking the same thing. You think you found it in this person, and you just become comfortable in their ways. Like that's just what they're gonna do. But I appreciate having this person because I know their backstory or whatever the case may be. So to us, it's a bunch of buffoonery and you putting up with this dumb shit. But to them, it's like I finally found somebody that understands me from what I'm going through, and I just need them here for me. It might be something as deep as that, and then it can go back to the simple, no, you just letting this shack up in your crib because you want somebody to hear.
Yeah, let's get deeper into it. So as you get older, and I'll give people the benefit of the doubt. If you was with somebody in high school and y'all had kids together and y'all was too young to understand what a real relationship is, I give you that. But when you grown and 30-something years old and you still making the same mistakes, that's the difference.
Yep.
How do you go out, choose this type of person, and then how do you prepare a future? At what point in time does your mind tell you this is okay to have a baby by this type of person? And then still expect to have a good life.
But see, that's tough. In my mind, that's tough to answer because of the world that we live in today and the reality TV that we have. Because, and again, not trying to necessarily bash, but I do think it plays a very key part on the mental. You have 16 and pregnant. Okay, you have kid with kids or whatever the other show is called or whatever. So it's like, you might think, okay, because they're young, they don't really understand or they haven't, witnessed or experienced that, hey, these decisions obviously have long-term effects. But you have shows like that through editing or whatever, they don't really show how tough that is. Like those, I've watched them, guilty pleasure, whatever you want. You'll watch it and it's like, Snacks is 15 and he had a baby with another 15-year-old and the parents they weren't excited about it, but guess what? The parents are still there because they own the show. It's really tough. They don't have a lot of money for the doctor visits, but somehow it works out. So if I'm young and I'm watching that, I'm going to see that as it's kind of tough, but not really a big deal.
I can get away with it.
So that's just kind of how my view is. So when I'm 30-something, my 30-year-old, hopefully, isn't making that sort of decision. They already made that decision. They're 30 years old now with a 12-year-old. So they didn't make that decision that you're talking about, like, why wouldn't you see that having a baby with this person is, they already made that when they were 15, But again, they see it on TV as it's not that bad. I try to always, share my own. Like, my sister had kids young. That was bad. You know what I mean? Like, I love my nieces and nephews, obviously, but that was tough.
Yeah.
That was a tough, like, trying to make this work. Not saying that parents weren't supportive. I mean, my parents were there, but like, that was tough. That wasn't no TV show like, it'll be okay. And no, that was like really, how are we going to get through this?
Yeah.
You made a decision that didn't just affect you. It's affecting everybody around you, So I think if you had TV shows like that, then you might actually see some people maybe being a little deterred from making those, because everyone just wants to be a grown-up now.
Is it safe to take it? I guess it's another I need to know. Is it safe to take a chance on relationships, or should that be genuine?
Like being with somebody that
because sometimes I hear people, we're just going to try it out.
Yeah.
And to me, that sounds like I'm taking a chance on it. I'm going to try it, but it don't sound like you're positive about it.
Well, some people leave their comfort zone.
Okay.
You got some girls that might date a thug, and you want to, I'm going to try a nice guy. I'm used to getting backhand and talk bad to, but I'm going to try this nice guy that's taking me out because I think this is the
I'm
safe
supposed to
bet.
have. Yeah.
So it's just what you're accustomed to. You know, that's
it goes back to
just your safe zone.
I think even taking a chance is still, tied to just the effort that you put into that chance. So if you say like, hey, I'm gonna try to date a nice guy, but I ain't really gonna like really put a lot of effort into it. Like if you want to take me out, cool, I'll go.
Yeah.
Then I would feel like you're gonna be left with, well, maybe that could have worked out if you actually were committed to that relationship. So it's a chance. It's a chance because it's something that's stretching you, and you're not used to being in that particular environment or treated that way. But you still have to commit yourself to that chance.
I mean, and it all goes back to appearances too. Some people might be overshadowed by somebody's appearance versus what's on the inside.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because you might miss something good because somebody wears glasses or they too tall or too short.
A whole checklist.
Yeah. You holding yourself at this standard, but you got the standard, but you actually cheapening yourself. You robbing yourself because if you are limited to only date dudes at 6 feet or only date girls with big booties, then you limited to you limited.
Yeah.
How can one have a checklist, but then not have, in essence, one for themselves? So it's like I watched a little bit of it, and I kind of took that as like the law of attraction. Like, how can I have a checklist of saying like, oh, I'd like a lady that is A, B, C, D, but like, what am I doing that would attract a person like that? And that's why I think you'd miss a lot of things because you're not in the, like, how can I say, oh man, I really would like to date a lady that's a millionaire, and put myself in no position to be around people like that.
Yeah.
They're not about to just come walk through this door, or someone, I want my guy to be in shape, but you never go to a gym, or you don't go to trade shows, or places that these people would be, and that's very like low level examples. But like just in general, like how can you want a family person, or you want this, or you want this in people that, a lot of people have checklists on that stuff, but you don't position yourself to find that. I mean, that's different.
Well, one thing you all have taken chances on is photography.
Yeah.
It's kind of how you guys have met. What's some of the challenges in photography? Because we talked about it off the air. That lighting is the biggest thing when it comes
lighting
to...
is big.
It is. No, yeah, go ahead.
Lighting is big, man. I'm still learning, man. I'm an up and coming photographer, and I'm still learning, man. I have my issues. I'm still afraid to charge. You know what I'm saying? I'm like my fiance tells me you should charge more, but that's like like me and him was talking about. So I was like, I don't know if I'm that good to charge that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just feel like I got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Just like I'm feeding off of him. He got some pictures that I like, and and vice versa. So.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and let me.
Because it's like a little community.
Most definitely. I mean, and I would say, let me back up and say that, I mean, Darrin's being very modest. He's way better than what he comes off to say. Ladies and gentlemen, please let me tell you that. But I also understand, and I would just say, like, one thing that I do like, and I think why we have such a great connection, I love meeting new photographers. I love meeting black photographers that live in Bakersfield and support each other. It is a community.
Yeah.
To your question about challenges, I mean, I think for me, it's just, and maybe, every photographer, but it's just the consistency of your photos. I mean, like I said, we talked off air about like charging, and I remember I went on a podcast with another photographer here, Mike Lopez, and we were talking, and it was like, when you get to, one thing he told me is like, when you get to a point where every time you push that button, you know what's going to happen in terms of what that's going to look like. Not the person, not the environment, but what it's going to look like. The price in which you set for yourself, be it if it's $1,000 or $5, you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
So he's like, early on, if you're uncomfortable with saying, okay, that'd be $50 or that'd be $100 or whatever, it's because part of you is insecure about what's going to happen once I push that button. And I'm like, okay, I understood that mind. I got that. What I've loved, and I'm sure you, at least with, your fiance. You want to give her a shout out? I mean, I'm sure she's probably watching.
Shout out to Candace.
Okay, you know,
Candace, what up?
Just want to make sure that you know your man is.
I can hear on. Hey, baby.
Exactly. But like,
See her now.
But like, if you have like a fiance, or I have Snacks and other friends, like it's just having that support.
Yeah,
You know?
yes, definitely
Let
support.
me take 1,000 pictures of you that are all jacked up.
Yeah,
Because they not gonna care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They not
just don't post them.
but that also helps though.
Yeah.
You know, and it helps because I know, like I said, we were talking off air, like, because when you get to like an event, you want to have your style down.
See, I was just about to ask you all that because I just mentioned it's like a community, but it's a large community. And how do you separate yourself from this large community of photographers? And what's your style? Like, what would you say? Like, you're at an event, and you two are at an event together, and both of you are shooting. But how are your shots different from one another? So how do you come up with your style in shooting? And it might not be an answer you have right now or something like that, but
Well, I'm a portrait photographer.
okay.
So I feel more comfortable when I control my environment.
Okay.
So if you walking around freely doing what you want to do, and I just have to get good shots of you, that's not gonna work for me.
Okay.
You're gonna be disappointed.
Yeah.
I would say I'm the opposite. You know, I mean, I would say that what I have tried to do over maybe the last 4 or 5 months is become more portrait. Because for me, it's a comfort thing. Like, I mean, I think probably anyone that knows me, like, I coach. So I'm used to directing people, but in a totally different arena and mindset. Yeah. So for me, it's like, it's hard for me to tell someone how to pose. Like, put your arm like this or turn it like, I don't know. I feel, that's why, like, friends, so like yourself, other people, like, if you know how you feel comfortable, just do you.
Yeah.
I'll just shoot it.
Yeah. It definitely takes a certain eye.
Yeah, you gotta have an eye for it. You gotta have a passion.
Well, that too. Yeah. And patience.
Patience too.
One thing that when it comes to the eye, I think is, I think the biggest thing is, again, I think it's confidence, but like trusting yourself in what you see. You know what I mean? Because I know early on, say early last year, what have you, like I would shoot something, I would just overthink it. I would just think like, gosh, I got to have all of this on the left or all of this on the right. Yeah. And you don't. You know what I mean? Like that's what you saw. When you put your eye to that camera, you saw that. So just trust what you saw. And then, work on it from there. Because whereas someone might say, hey, man, if you'd have panned to the left a little bit more, but that's what they would have liked. And it's not to say that they're right or wrong. It's just that's what they would have liked.
That's what your
where
eyes
you
are.
liked it on the left.
Yeah,
you know? And so now some people say, oh, you have a really good eye for that when you just see the shot the same way they do.
And you're right. Actually, that just goes back to variety.
Yeah.
Every photographer is different. You got some photographers that'll just take a picture of you, throw a filter on it. Here you go. And that person might be happy with that. Yeah. You got some photographers might do detail, make you slimmer, make your face look more glamorous. Remember the glamour shots in high school?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, they might like that type of thing. They might not be too confident with their blemishes and they want detailed, stuff. So it's just a variety.
Now, with filters being a big thing these days, is it best to just send people the raw photo, or you? So,
I mean,
to me, that would be crazy to do that because you did all this work, and the whole point of you hiring a photographer because you're good at editing the photo.
For sure.
But I know how some people are so big on how they want their filters, and so that's why I'm asking.
You know what, man? I don't know how you feel about this, and I'm gonna put this out there. When I first started taking pictures, I took pictures of a young lady, and I thought I did a good job, and I sent them to her, and she put Instagram filters over the pictures. And I got offended.
Yeah, that's why I asked. As a photographer, does it offend you?
I got offended.
Yeah.
I think I just always ask. I mean, I always ask, like, what are you using these photos for? Because if we're taking photos for some sort of artistic expression, then I would be offended if you put a filter over the top of that. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, well, you wanted my eye on the setup of it. So when I send it to you, like, that's what it should look like. Now, if you don't like that, then you can say, hey, can we reshoot this, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, if we're just taking photos, and people tell me that they're just taking photos, they just want to, capture this outfit. I mean, I kind of will just send it to you.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Because again, the idea is you might throw a filter on top of that. So yes, I took a picture of you, but I didn't take a photograph.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference.
Yeah.
Like,
Gotcha.
if I'm taking a picture of you, you won't throw it up on. I mean, that's like with your cell phone. You know, you throw it on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Throw some filters on it. I took that picture. Yes. If I take a photo of you, respectfully, I would say post it how it is.
Yeah.
Or tell me to re-edit it.
Yeah.
You know, oh man, it was a little bit dark. Okay, cool. Send it back.
Yeah.
Don't try to throw a lighter filter on it because
Yeah.
now the background looks totally different. And then, you know.
See, I don't think people understand all that when they put filters on top of filters.
Well, I think because people look at it as a picture versus a photograph.
Gotcha.
Because I think there's a difference. Photographs take time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're doing edits, you're doing angles, you're taking 100 of them to get 5 of them, whatever it is. A picture,
It's just on our phone.
cool, you know.
Yeah.
All right, do whatever you want. Put dog face on. I don't even care. It's a
That's
picture.
just like if me being a photographer, if I asked him to take pictures of me, hey, just take these pictures of me and just send me the raws and I'll edit it. That's cool. If I was to do that, even if I did that to him, if he was like, hey, take pictures of me and just send me the raws, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's less work for me.
Yeah.
But if I gotta sit there and do everything to make you look good,
Yeah.
and you throwing filters over it, you washing out everything I've done.
Yeah.
Now, before we get out of here, one thing I do want to ask is I know you don't do it on a global scale or anything, but you talk about you got your shirt. Talk about your clothing line. You make your own.
Man, I do. F dot.
Guys, he don't want people to know because he don't want to make all these orders. But the clothes is dope. I mean, I'm trying to. Hey, listen.
He just wants about 100 orders a month. That's
Yeah,
about it.
guys, if you want, we might go public trading here in a couple of months, But so,
F dot.
F dot. Okay.
F dot. Well, what it is, man, is about 5 years ago, I was just like, man, I want to do my own thing.
Yeah.
Make my own clothes, and I tried to put it out there. I didn't do too good as far as advertising, so I just kind of just do it for me. I just do it for me.
Yeah. Candace got some?
She don't. I know, right? I tried to put her in something, but she kind of got her own little stuff going on.
So what you telling me is
that hyper little thing, you ain't got no dog on F dot.
I mean, I made her a couple of shirts for the gym. I made her a couple of shirts for the gym, but
because I feel like that's an in-home model right there.
If you don't do anything clothing, make fitness clothes right now. You'll make a profit.
Everybody's a fitness model.
I know, right? Go right back to the beginning, huh?
You want to take us out, man?
Man, it's been fun, Darrin, man.
Oh man,
thank you, man.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, man.
Invite me.
Enjoying a glass of wine with us. Another episode of I Need to Know with Snacks, Art, two favorite uncles, and my guy Darrin. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.